So, number 4 says be open to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so quite often we're very set in our ways, aren't we? Because it's what we're used to doing. But
Yeah.
if we keep doing the same thing over and over again,
Mhm.
then different results, new things are not going to happen. So I think it's
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
open to change, being open to doing things differently is very important. I think normally what stands in the way when people go for coaching, because going back to being your own life coach, when people come for coaching, what I find normally is it's resistance to change.
Yeah.
That's the piece that we're coaching. And the change itself is normally very easy, but it's the resistance,
Yeah.
the hard bit, right? But making the change and doing the change becomes easy
Yeah.
once you overcome that resistance. So I think this is it's a really key one to think about is are you prepared to change? Are you ready to change? And some of it is self-talk, like, yes, I'm going to do this. I will
Yeah.
change, and I want to change. I'm open to doing things differently.
And I guess very often we're emotionally attached to the thing we're doing. So it's not just a logical or a clinical change. It's the whole emotion that's attached to that thing that we need to unpack and let go of.
It's almost as if there's some unlearning that needs to happen for the new learning and the change.
Yeah.
To happen.
Exactly.
And I like what you were saying before about goal buddies, because goal buddies help to make that easier. Because if you're doing that on your own, usually it's just rattling around in your own head, whereas a goal buddy can help to extract some of that and represent it to you. And then you can see, actually, I do need to make this change.
As your goal buddy, yes, we'll be booking some flights.
I love it.
What have I let myself in for on that one?
Tell you know him and you know me. I'm like, I'll see you in a few months.
Maybe this one is actually quite useful right now. Step 5 was about breaking down the barriers.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. In fact, I've just been before I connected to you guys, I've just been working on some content for a workshop I'm delivering next week on limiting beliefs, right? On breaking down limiting beliefs. And I think that, when you talk about breaking down barriers, really these are big, we hold beliefs that limit us from reaching our full potential. And I remember when I was making the decision to come out here to Dubai, and I remember asking myself the question I was asking myself, because I was worried about the what ifs and thinking about the terrible things that could happen, and thinking to myself, well, actually, what are the best things that could happen? Because I think we tend to focus on, oh gosh, I might not like my job, I might not make any friends, I might, I might have to come home, all these things, and then actually, what's the best thing that could happen? And look, I've met my husband and kids, and I'm a great
that's brilliant.
So I think that's one question, and also asking yourself what stops me. So it's a very important question that you can just sit and reflect. What's the best thing can happen? What stops me? And another one that I like is sometimes is actually you can say, well, what is the worst thing that can happen?
Absolutely.
And if that worst thing happened, how am I going to overcome that? Because we're not saying that always the positive things happen. If something does happen, well, what tools do I have? How am I going to overcome that? Yeah, okay, it's fine. I'll overcome it.
So, Shell, can I ask you, when you were navigating the change, because it's so far, did you have friends and family that were like, no, don't go, kind of thing? And, the pull on that, did you give yourself that kind of reflection and that question in terms of the worst thing that could happen is I'm going to miss all of these people. It's not going to work out here, but then I would just come back. Is that the sort of thing that you had to navigate in that whole decision?
Do you know what? Apart from maybe a few people that wanted to hire me at the time, work-wise, otherwise, I have to say I'm so blessed that my circle of friends, and even my mum, they empowered me, you know. They really encouraged me. Although they, you know, I'm sure my mum didn't want me to go, she really did empower me, and it was a blessing, really. So I was fortunate not to have that. It was just a tough decision to make, it being so far away, and I didn't know anyone here.
Yeah. So that was the real crux issue, the distance. So even with people empowering you, cheering you on to say, you know what, go and do you.
Go and do it.
You know, it was still hard. So that's where you're talking about you can potentially get caught up in those limiting beliefs and resisting, you know.
Well, I'm a bit of I do like the whole feel the fear but do it anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
You know,
one of my favorite books.
Yeah, but I've got to say, when I did my first skydive, I still remember that feeling, and I always related to that, you know, because I did it, and then that's been really motivating as well. So yeah, feel the fear and just do it.
Brilliant.
Skydive, Carl.
That's it. And I know that's something that you're passionate about, the whole moving away from a deficit model to, you know, looking at positive psychology.
Yeah.
So,
you know,
good.
Going on strengths.
Yeah, the strengths-based model. That's it.
Strengths-based model.
That's it. All right. So, the next point you make is there is no failure, just feedback, and I absolutely love that. Please unpack that for us.
And actually, feedback is one of your best life coaches as well. If you're open to it and you're open to change. Again, talking about some of the points we've mentioned earlier. So you asking for feedback, well, being able to self-reflect and give yourself feedback, but also being open to taking feedback from others. So if something doesn't work out, okay, well, what could I do differently next time? What went wrong? What would I like to change? And taking all those learnings. There's the story of Edison and the light bulb, isn't there? How many attempts did he have? I don't know whether different places say different numbers, but it was a lot of attempts, right?
Yeah, apparently 10,000.
Yeah. Did he fail 10,000 times, or was it 10,000 bits of feedback?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we don't remember he must have gone through a lot of mental challenges and adjustments, but we don't remember any of that. We just switch the light on, we see it come on, and we say, oh, thank God for Edison.
Exactly.
So that's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, what's the last
people
one?
don't even think that far. It's like life. It's we have life.
That's it. What's the last one? So the last one.
We've got be grateful, and then we've got take action. So if we look at being grateful.
Yeah.
Why is gratitude so important?
I believe in the law of attraction. So whatever you think about, the more gratitude you recognize, the more there will be to be grateful for. I think, again, especially given the world that we live in, you know, where there's so much sadness and turbulence, and you know, sometimes I don't really watch the news or much, but I know that we can be heavily influenced about the sadness in the world, and I'm not dismissing that whatsoever. But there is so much to be grateful for as well.
Absolutely.
Small things, anything. And I think the more we think about gratitude, the more that we talk about it, the more gratitude, more things to be grateful for that come into our lives. And it's something that I do on a daily basis we do it as a family, actually, with the children before bed. We talk about the things that made us happy that day and the things that we're thankful for.
Love that.
It's very uplifting. It helps you recognize, you know, what has happened that day, the good things about that day, which is good for you. And the children love it, and the things they come up with, it's just, honestly, it's beautiful sometimes what they come up with, and how they think. I remember my son being grateful for our nanny's bus that brought her to our house, and I would have never thought. I'm just like, wow, how children think is just amazing. You know,
that's really, really good.
They teach us a thing or two. But can I just ask you, Cheryl, you talked about not watching the news much, you know, so is that one of the actions you take as a protective factor?
Yeah, I've done it for years. And initially, so I used to do this since I was in the UK, working in an office in the UK. And initially, I was a bit worried because, you know, you come into the office and people start talking about the news, and then you're a bit like, oh gosh, I don't know what's going on. But you know what? I used to just say, oh no, I've not heard it yet. Tell me, and I'd hear it from them. You know, if I was, you know, I might look it up, but no. I used to watch the news first thing in the morning. You know, the BBC breakfast would come.
I hear that.
But I stopped that years ago, and I don't regret it.
Yeah.
We love to create our own news.
Brilliant.
Because at the end of the day, when you watch the news, you are in effect opening your mind to someone to pump whatever they want into it. And the news isn't always great.
Unfortunately, there seems to be you know, the bulk of the time is on a negative narrative. You know, and I think it's very, and I mean, so many people got caught up in the whole COVID conspiracies and the reporting, and it's like you could still be living your life. So there are, I'm finding more and more people are taking that as an action in terms of catching up with bits of news, because like yourself, because it's something that we don't do as well. We don't really watch the news, and then you think about, as our parents' generation used to say, so what if the world was to end and you needed to know if there's an invasion, if there's and all of that sort of stuff.
We'd find out eventually, I'm sure.
You know what? In the end, I find out about it because my mum will message me and tell me in the news, and you know, that if there is a topic that I would like to know more about, then I'll go and read. You know, I'll look it up. If it's something that, you know, has an impact, or I'd like to know more about, and I'll read it for that moment. Then that's it.
Park it.
That's it.
Where it needs to be parked. It's not letting too much of the negativity perplex your tranquility, as the phrase you love.
That's the one. And the last one, which I believe is the most important one in terms of taking action. If you don't take action, nothing changes. You can have the right heart state, you can have the right mindset, but if you don't do anything, nothing changes. So why is taking action so important to you?
Again, because we can read so much stuff and learn so much stuff, but what are you going to do with it? So I'm all for things, you know, anything being actionable, and what are you going to do? Otherwise, it's just fluff, isn't it? So, you know, you set your goal, you set your SMART goal, but what's the first step you're going to take to achieve that goal? And what's the next step? So, you know, breaking things down into small chunks and knowing what you're going to do next and taking action. Otherwise, you know, I'll be running sessions and it's all great, people leave the room and just carry on as normal.
But you want
no actions,
So the first action is to block out the time in our diary, look at the flights, and get them booked. There you go. Cheryl, it's always a pleasure to kind of connect with you. But before you go, we want to do the quick fire dozen. Don't think too much about it. Just say it as it comes to you. So
are you ready? Are you ready?
No.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I've got a SMART goal and a challenge for Colin, that when we get to the last one, he can just read it. So that we'll see.
I can't break that barrier.
I'm encouraging you. I'm your goal buddy. You can do it. Come on, break through that barrier. Right. So the first one is jollof
or rice and peas.
Jollof.
Okay.
Plantain or
plantain.
The second plantain.
Okay.
That's what I said.
You're not sure. Go again. Plantain or plantain? Which one? Which one are you going to go? Plantain. Okay, cool.
You don't mind. It's the same thing.
Same thing, really.
Same. Right. What about a beach holiday or
city break?
Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No
cash flow or
capital appreciation?
Cash flow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Netflix
or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay.
Reggae or
Afrobeats?
Afrobeats.
listening to music, Afrobeats or
listening to a podcast?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Ooh, I thought that would be interesting for you.
Yeah. I reckon I'm going to go with music.
Okay.
Afrobeats.
Okay, there you go.
Right, Afrobeats one. Okie dokes. Oh, well, this is for when you're back in the UK. Uber Eats or
Deliveroo. Actually, I was just thinking they may be out in Dubai.
We've got it here, and I use Deliveroo. Uber Eats.
There you go.
It happens. I need to be more open.
Yeah. Where do you think Cherry lives? Norfolk?
That's a little bit of sour grapes. Where we are, there's some parts of
we don't get either.
They're like, we're not going that far. Right. Okay. Here we go. Right. Stocks and shares or
crypto.
Stocks and shares. I never got into crypto.
Yeah.
I hear that one. Ooh, this is the big one.
Remember your challenge.
I'll break the barrier next time. No. This is the big one. This is a massive one.
Oh, here we go.
Big one. Samsung
or Apple.
Apple.
Oh.
See? It's not a big one for Cheryl. It's just you.
Where Samsung people have the kids though have left us. They've left us.
So they try to convert us every now and then, but there you go.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
people out here.
Say that again.
Say again.
I don't know that many Samsung people out here.
Really?
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Dubai.
Okay.
Dubai is an apple.
We'll have to get some apples when we're going out.
Right.
I'll stick with Granny Smith.
Right. So the next one is night in or
night out.
Night in.
Okay.
Night in. Be nice. Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. It's probably too hot at night, isn't it?
I just love a night in.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right. And then the last one
is
I won't do the build up.
You're building
the last one is
oxtail
or curry goat.
I'm a vegetarian.
Vegan, vegetarian.
Vegan oxtail or vegan curry goat.
I'm pescatarian, so.
You're what, sorry?
I said I'm pescatarian.
Okay.
So let's go with
tilapia.
Or saltfish.
Or salmon.
Or salmon.
Okay.
That I would say that was an easy one.
Yeah. What other fish would you have used?
I would have probably said like a curried fish or like a saltfish dish or something like that. What would that be?
I'd choose a curried. I've not had last time I had saltfish was when my mum cooked it. I've not had saltfish since I've been out here, believe it or not.
Okay.
So curried fish, I think.
Okay. Have you ever had ackee and saltfish, which is like the Jamaican national dish? Okay.
Not a massive fan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's an. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
It's more you like it or you don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a massive learning point there. Make sure we have some vegetarian alternatives for our quickfire dozen.
Yeah, we just spoke to someone else who's flexitarian.
Yeah. Have you heard of the term flexitarian?
Is that a term? Is that a thing?
They're vegan when they're ready, they're vegetarian when they're ready, and they eat meat when they're ready.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
Like I guess someone just made it up to facilitate their requirements.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's how language gets enriched.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being free and open.
Listen, Cheryl, as always, it's been a great pleasure speaking to you. And we hope to see you in October.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I mean, until then, you know, what's the next couple of months look like for you?
So, well, I'll be back in the UK in July. So
Okay,
hopefully I can see you guys in July.
Definitely.
Otherwise, it's just pretty much. Well, I'm trying to think. I've got a trip to Rome in April, so I'll be in Rome next month.
Good, nice one.
Otherwise, it's all work and enjoying the kids and family time and staycations out here.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I was going to say, are the trips work or pleasure?
It's a mixture, this one. So it's work and pleasure. The Rome trip.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Enjoy it all.
Enjoy.
Looking forward to a UK catch up in July.
To seeing
likewise, look forward to it.
Definitely.
And I'm really looking forward to the October catch up.
What am I let myself in for?
I'm making it a SMART goal.
There you go.
Love it.
Even though you might not be going with a smart man. No, I'm joking. Listen, Cheryl, take care. Many blessings. Thank you so much for all the work that you do in terms of not just your corporate role, but importantly, the work that you do through your life coaching.
Yeah.
And we wish you the very best, and we will always be cheering you on. So, hey.
And if people want to get in touch and find out a little bit more about what Cheryl does, and if they're interested in the life coaching and the NLP side of things that she does, contact us here and we will sort it out.
We will hook you up, as they say. All right, Cheryl, take care.
Thanks.